what you just saw was a cleanup job that's going on uh, at a commercial property, clearing it out, cleaning it up. Sorry, my sinuses are absolutely running wild right now, so pardon the sniffles and such. Anyways, so in the video and the other video that I posted of chipping up debris from there, I was using the Bearcat chipper shredder. This is the 3-inch model. Just gonna check the blades, because the chipper blade, knives, blades, whatever you want to call them, are two-faced. They have cutting edge on both sides. Using it in the last time, had to really force the material through. Now it's a 3-inch chipper. Yes, it's not self-feeding, but with a sharp blade, knife, whatever you want to call it, it'll kind of pull through a little bit. Sometimes you actually have to hold back so that it doesn't stall itself out. So that's the drum. Sorry. And in the front is a little hole that you can stick a small screwdriver through. Oh, come on. And it'll just kind of hold the drum from spinning around. Now, those are the flail blades for it. Picked this model up used '09, and the person had it for at least 10 years, so doing the math, this is a pretty old model. Coming from the homeowner wasn't previous owner wasn't specific, so it was like late 90s, early 2000s that they got it, so it's over 20 years old at least. And they still make it. It's been a nice machine, but let me pull out the knife, blade, whatever you want to call it, and see how it looks. Hold on. Oh, it's always fun trying to work on something and your sinuses are all clogged up. It makes it so much fun. Okay, got one blade off, and here it is. I don't know how well this is going to show up. This is where my thumb is. This is the edge that I've been using. On the edges of it, it's pretty sharp, but in the middle, obviously where all the work is, it's dulled up just enough that it makes it difficult. You have to force it through. With these small chippers, excuse me for the sinuses, you have to take kind of every advantage that you can, so sharp blades make it run a lot faster and easier. This is the edge that I'm going to go to. Focus. Just running my finger on it, it is sharper. It doesn't look that great. I've never changed these blades since I got it. I've just sharpened them. How's that for a view? Yeah. So I know I have to change out blades at some point. And usually when I put these on, focus. I hope that profile shows up. This is the profile that I use, because this top edge that I'm touching with my finger is the first edge that is, this is the closest edge to the input tube. So, years ago I did it, and I switched them like this. It didn't chip that great. I did it like this, and it seems to chip a lot better. The owner's manual didn't come with one. Buying used equipment, this is kind of the thing, the stories that you hear of no paperwork, no nothing, so it's kind of like, well, I guess I'll take the person's word for what it's worth. But so yeah, that was the focus. That was the edge that I was using. I mean, you can see that it's not level all the way across. It has some wear on it. I mean, looking at it, it looks sharp, but it is dull. I could tell by the way that the machine was running. This side that I'm going to start using, that I'm switching to, it's a lot. It has a better edge to it. Again, it shows somewhere, probably from when somebody put it on backwards, but let's not go there. Uh, this machine is a drum style. No, not drum style. I'm sorry, disc. Because the chipping action is from here and it spins around. Drum would actually spin and the blade would come down onto the piece and like drag it in. So down and in would be drum. Disc it's just a spinning disc that you feed the piece into and it chops it as it goes through. I might have that wrong. That might be the sinus medication that I'm on getting me all loopy. But anyways, so let me change this blade out and we'll check the next one. Alright. This is the other blade. Kind of the same look. I don't know how well this is showing up. Maybe. I mean, you got to change them every so often anyways and sharpen them. So this one doesn't look too bad. I didn't hit anything terrible with it. Done that in the past. I mean, it's a pretty simple machine. Sorry. Excuse me. You have a bearing at the front that you grease, a bearing in the back that you access from underneath inside there. You have one belt, and it's a manual clutch with a handle that you slowly engage and start. It's a pretty simple machine. I really like it. Yes, it's only a 3-inch capacity, and sometimes you really have to put a little effort into it. But with the rising cost of dump fees, this kind of becomes a viable thing to use. Some kind of chipper of some size. I mean, this isn't a sponsor. I'm just saying because at the job that we were working at, excuse me, the guy walked by and he's like, "Oh, I've done trees before, and I never knew that they made a chipper that small." And it's like, yeah, it's been around for a while, you know. Obviously, if you live in a town that you can easily dispose of yard debris, and you just bulk load it into your vehicle and bring it there, I guess it's one thing. Or you live on a large piece of property that you can just make a pile of it. You don't see the need for it. Sometimes I use this a couple of times a year, sometimes don't use it at all. But with the rising costs, of dump fees on larger projects, it's not bad to have a chipper. If it's a bigger stuff, that it's mostly big stuff, then I can go rent a bigger one. But for me, this one works for most of what I do, which is why it was nice to pick one up. As far as how it is on the used market, I have no idea. Ever since 2020, the used market's been a little weird. And if you're trying to put the blades on and frustrated with it, I take a magnet, hold it like you see here. Excuse me. Line it up on the wheel and put the bolts in. And there you go. Instead, if just in case you're sitting here getting frustrated trying to put it on there, just a little tip to use some kind of magnet to hold it in there, and then you can line up the bolts and the holes, and there you go. Alright, so just did a service, greased the bearings, changed the chipper knives, blades, whatever you want to call them. So we're ready. Now with the when this machine came out, I didn't get these pieces from the person I bought it from. There is a grate that goes in here so that you can have uniform sized chips, and you can change it depending on what you're doing. He said that if you're chipping up vines, that they were soft vines, so they weren't very woody. It would just kind of gum up, and then you'd have to take the screen off and clean it out. So he just got rid of them and never used them. I've never used it. Um, looking up after, I know there's like kits to make it for towing, behind a garden tractor. Or there's like a third wheel kit for the front to make it easier to move. And then there's a chute that goes on here, and it loads a truck. It has like a chipper chute on it. All sounds very nice, but I don't use it that much, or use it often enough to really warrant getting all those specialty things. Usually it's just roll it out of the trailer. You're kind of close to the driveway or road, depending on where I'm parking. And that's where I pile all the debris and chip it up like that. Especially this year, dump fees for a truckload are over $100. Now that's in the Northeast where I'm from. Prices might be different everywhere, but there's very few places to go commercially to bring like a mixed debris in. The chips that come out of here, as you can kind of see, they're not uniform. They're very small, obviously because of the size of the machine. For like chip fees where it's clean chips, so I'm guessing like no other material, no leaves or anything like that. They want a uniform size because they sell it either to make mulch or biofuel plants use the wood chips to burn. So if I can reduce 2 truckloads or more into 1 truckload of chips, at least I'm on site. I'm not having to, say to the customer, well, the price, the dump fee, depending on where I am, it's an hour to go dump and come back. If I could spend an hour chipping and have 1 truckload, I'm fine with it, which kind of works out of not having to go and dump so often, save wear and tear on the vehicle, time lost of driving back and forth, and dealing with whatever accidents or delays could happen on the road. Again, that's the area I'm in. Other areas might be different for price wise or how they view chips as being clean or not clean chips. But if you ever come across a Bearcat chipper shredder, this is the 3-inch model. I don't know the number offhand, but it's the 3-inch model. I know they have like bigger ones too. It's pretty simple. You have the drum can easily come out. The knives are easy to change. It's a little frustrating, but it's not too bad. You have 1 belt in the housing in there with some pulleys. It's a manual engagement clutch. This one has a Honda. I mean, it's not bad. Yes, it's only a 3-inch chipper, but if you have like a fire pit or something, anything that this won't fit, you could easily burn in a fire pit. No big deal really. Reduces the times I have to go dump, and like I said, I can rent something bigger if I'm going to be on a job that it's bigger trees that I have to deal with, and it makes sense to rent a bigger chipper. I do that. If not, this is my go-to for reducing it, so that I can kind of give a better price to the customer. And that's a whole other subject. I've had people say, "Well, somebody's cheaper and they're not using a chipper." Well, I don't know what they're doing then to get rid of the debris. But it is what it is. So this is just a little backstory on it. If you're ever looking for a chipper in the 3-inch size, or it's used or something. It's just a little insight into what you what you're kind of looking at. A bearing on the front, bearing in the back, under the housing, one belt, a couple of pulleys. That's really it. Uh, the shredding part. It takes that vines and anything else like wild rose bushes, those thorny bushes that just it doesn't matter what glove you wear, it just goes through. It could be a nightmare to move it. You shove it into the shredding piece. The shredder knives here break it down at least into a easier controllable size. And you could have a truckload of that and reduce it to maybe half or more. But thanks for watching. It's a nice little machine. So take care.